Are you a young driver looking for insurance but you can't find a cheap one? You want to get onto the road but you can't? Well, you're at the right place. In this video I'm going to give you 10 tips to find cheaper car insurances for yourself. Hey guys, welcome to The Automotive Stable. I'm here with another video. Today is going to be a useful one. I'm going to be talking to you about how to get cheaper insurance as a young driver. And I wish there was a video like this when I was younger, when I was trying to get insurances on my first few cars, because it would have really helped me to save some money on the insurance policy, which I could have then put towards a better car or more modifications. You want to subscribe to the channel and watch to the end to save some money on your car insurance. Number 1. Now, the most obvious and biggest factor that will affect your insurance policy is the car that you own. Here in the UK, insurances work on a group-based system. All of the cars that you can potentially go out and purchase are categorized and put in 50 different groups, starting from group 1 all the way up to group 50. And the rule of thumb here is the higher the insurance group, the higher your insurance is going to be. The lower the insurance group, the cheaper the insurance will be for yourself. Now, how is it determined which car goes in which category? Basically, what you need to think is that the more expensive it is to purchase the car and repair the car and maintain the car, the higher up it will be in the group. Now, for example, if you have a smaller French hatchback, be it a Peugeot 207, 208, a Renault Clio, or even cars such as Vauxhall Corsas, Vauxhall Astras, those will fall in a lower insurance group compared to German manufacturers, for example. The reason being, the lower the maintenance, the lower the repair cost, and the cheaper the car is, the cheaper the insurance will be, because the insurance knows in case of an accident or in case of a breakdown, they're not going to have to pay out such a large sum compared to how much they would have to pay if it was a more expensive car. Now, besides the retail price, maintenance and repair costs, another thing that hugely affects which category these cars fall under is the engine and performance of a car. The bigger the engine and the higher the performance the car is offering, most likely the insurance will be more expensive. The smaller the engine, the less power the engine has, the cheaper the insurance will be. So if saving money on your insurance is your ultimate goal, you should find a car with a smaller engine that's putting out less power. Therefore, your insurance premium policy will cost you less than it would do on another more powerful car. Let me quickly give you a funny backstory. When I was 17 and I passed my driving test, I had my own car, but I was just curious how much it would cost me to get insured on my dad's car. At that time, my dad had a BMW X5. It was a 3-litre car. I knew the insurance would be more on the expensive side, but this expensive, I never expected. So I'm comparing car insurances online, and after about maybe 1 or 2 hours of searching, the cheapest insurance that I found was £17,500. £17,500. So one of the main factors is the kind of car that you have. That will definitely affect your insurance premium policy and how much you have to pay for your insurance. So watch out for that one. Number 2, the location or where you live will be a very big determining factor of how cheap or expensive your insurance policy will turn out to be. Generally, if you live in an urban area, city area where there's a lot of traffic, your insurance living in a city will be more expensive than compared to someone who's living on the outskirts, less developed areas where there's less traffic, simply because the way insurance sees it, that if you're living in an area where there's more traffic, more cars, there's more rush hours, there's more chances of you getting into an accident, whereby there's more occasions on which the insurance policy needs to pay off for insurance claims. Another thing that is meant by the location is the safety of the area. So how safe the area is where you're living, how much crime there is, because those are determinative factors for insurance companies, as that's how they do the risk assessment and they manage their insurance policies according to those areas. So if you're living in an area where the crime rate for cars and crime rate in general is much higher, your insurance policy will be much higher compared to someone who's living in a more safer environment. Let me give you an example. One of my friends, he was living in Wellington. It's a city in South London, generally regarded as safe. And he happened to move to Croydon, which is not too far from Wellington. And especially his location from where he was living in Wellington to where he moved to in Croydon was a mere 10-minute drive. Now, because obviously Croydon is regarded as a less safer city than Wellington, for example, his insurance policy with the same records, same details, same car, just because of the change of locations, which again I said was a mere 10-minute drive, it increased his insurance premium by £480 a year. Boom! Insurances. Another thing that falls within location, and it's a way to combat the higher insurance premiums if you're living within these urban areas and less safer areas, and that is, how is your car being kept at home? Every time you're looking for insurance policies online, one of the questions the insurance providers will always ask is, where do you store your car at night, or where do you park your car overnight? That could be a driveway, could be your garage, could be on the road, could be on the side road, whatever it might be, you have to mention that to the insurance policies. Now, the reason they ask that, because that is a determining factor of how secure the car will be overnight. Now, if you do have an access to garage, you should always mention that your car is being parked inside the garage, Because even if you're living in a more dangerous area compared to some of the others, your insurance will be considerably cheaper because they know that your car is being put away in a garage. There's less chance of thieves and robbers and stuff getting to your car. If you don't have a garage but you have a driveway, mention you have a driveway. It's always better to mention something that's closer to home, if you understand what I'm saying. The closer the car is to home, the more secure it is. In a more secluded area, the more cheaper insurance will be. Unfortunately, not everyone has garages or driveways. The way you can combat that is that if you have a friend or a family member where you can generally leave your car overnight, or where you can generally park your car, and they have such facilities, being a driveway, a garage, you can always mention that that's where your car will be kept overnight. You can give a separate address. So always do that, because like I said, that will bring down the insurance policy. So location is a big one. Number three is another big one. In fact, it's one of the most important ones, which is your personal record. By personal record, I mean everything. If you're a new driver, you've just passed your driving test, you're probably not going to have a no claims bonus. An NCB, a no claims bonus, is basically a year that you've gone without having to claim on your insurance for any accidents or injuries, either to yourself or another party. No claims bonus is something that reduces the insurance policy slowly over the years. It's something that gives the insurances a nice overview of what kind of driver you are. The no claims bonus will be a determining factor once you have a few years of experience. But besides that, for your personal record, I mean any points that you have, any criminal convictions that you have, any driving offences that you may have, you will always need to mention that to insurance. You can't lie about it. All the insurances have a shared database. All insurance providers have access to it. They will compare the details that you have given them to the data they have on the online system, and if you've lied about something, they will just completely reject your insurance policy, most probably blacklist you off their system. And if you get blacklisted on a lot of insurances, that's going to make it very hard for yourself to get insurance with any of the insurance providers, because again, the fact that you've been blacklisted by these many insurances most likely be reflected on the online shared database. I personally was a bit unlucky. I got 3 points in my first 6 months of driving. I believe for the first year, if you get more than 6 points on your license, you get your license taken away. And that obviously did increase my insurance premium by quite a bit, being a new driver. And your insurance costs will reflect any accidents you've had in the past. Those accidents can be non-fault or fault, but they will have to be mentioned when you're taking out insurance policy. Now, the one thing I hate about the way insurances work here, whether you have a non-fault or a fault accident in the past, you will need to mention that to the insurance provider when you're taking out the policy. And what that does is, regardless of whether it's your fault or not your fault, it increases your insurance premium policy. So you might have had 3 accidents in the past, and those accidents might be non-fault, but they won't increase the insurance policy as much as they would if they were at fault accidents. But even with non-fault accidents, it increases the insurance policy, which I don't really understand, because it's not an accident that was really caused by yourself. One thing I'll say from my personal experiences is be a responsible driver, be safe out there on the road, because at that time you might not realize, but once you get into an accident, that accident will reflect on your history for at least 5 years. So that 1 accident, 2 accidents, or maybe 3 accidents in the past 5 years on your record are not going to help you get a cheaper insurance policy for that car. Or even it might make it very difficult for you to get insurances on certain type of cars, which has happened to me in the past as well. There's been times when one of my cars has been just standing for maybe 1 or 2 weeks because of my accident record and my points and stuff. I was never able to get insurance on until something worked out for me. I'll give you guys a quick tip. It doesn't work in all cases, and you shouldn't do this in all cases, depending on how, it depends on the extent of the damage. If you have been involved in an accident and it is your fault, what you can do, you can nicely speak to the other party who has been involved in the collision or accident or incident, whatever it is, with yourself, and you can opt out to pay for their damages in cash. This is completely legal because both parties have the right to sort out the matter internally and don't take it to insurance providers. I've had that in the past when some of the accidents I've had, the other person, understood that I was at a young age, going through to the insurance will increase my insurance policy. Maybe they've been through something like that in the past themselves, and they were nice enough to understand, and obviously some of the payments I made out in cash and paid for them myself instead of going through insurance. If you can pay for the damage in cash, do so, because it will save you from that accident being reflected on a record for the next 5 years, which, trust me, does make a huge difference to what car you're getting, to how much insurance you're going to pay, and all of those factors. But you need to be careful because some people might take advantage of it. I remember when I had my BMW 3 Series, I was 21 at that time, and I accidentally reversed into a Mercedes. But the damage wasn't that big. The front grille broke, the front bumper had a few cracks, and the front hood had a little bend to it. Obviously, I spoke to him and I told him, look, I'll pay you in cash. I'm a young driver. Taking this through my insurance policy will cost me a lot. He said, all right, I'll get a quote. Now, what he ended up doing is he ended up going to Mercedes, which on his part, he's completely right to do as a newer car. But he came back with a £4,500 invoice. I know my thing or two about cars. I know that damage was nowhere near £4,500. He could have easily gone to another garage and they would have charged him maybe 30% of that price. All of the damage would have been sorted with genuine parts, and obviously I would have paid out for that. But £4,500, you just need to do some calculations in your head whether paying out that sum would be beneficial to you over the next 5 years. So let's say you had an accident and the insurance policy increases another £400, £500, £600 over the year. For the next 5 years, if your insurance policy has gone up by £400, you're looking at maybe £2,000 altogether that you're going to pay for your accident. So just weigh it up, paying £4,500 now in cash, or maybe, down the line when you pay £2,000, the insurance becomes cheaper anyway. So just do the calculations in your head if you think it's worthwhile paying in cash and obviously getting yourself out the whole insurance trouble. Definitely go and do that. I recommend that. But also don't be taken advantage of by the third party. So be a safe driver, try not to get into accidents. But if unfortunately enough you happen to be in an accident, try and sort it out between yourself and the other third party first before taking to insurance. But be reasonable, don't get taken advantage of. Most important thing, don't lie about any bad history that you might have had. Number 4, and that is the mileage you drive each year and the type of driving that you do. The more miles you drive in a year, the more expensive your insurance policy will be compared to someone who puts less miles on their car each year. One thing that I'll say to everyone is I've seen so many people do that. They estimate a mileage. They think it's just a clueless question the insurance provider is asking you online when you're taking out insurance. They'll put 8,000, 10,000. If you drive that many miles, do you put them down? But some people only drive 2,000, 3,000 miles a year. They very rarely use their car, but the mileage they've mentioned in the insurance policy is 10, 15,000 just in case they need to drive somewhere. Don't do that. The amount of miles you put in the insurance policy will definitely affect your insurance premium price. My personal experience, the set figure is 4,000 miles. If you're driving under 4,000 miles, your insurance will drop considerably compared to if you're driving more than that.
Insurance doesn't check your mileage when you're taking out the insurance policy, and insurance doesn't check your mileage at the end of the policy either.
For example, if you're in education or you're working and you're using the public transport, you're using the trains and buses instead of your car that you have at home, but you still got 8,000, 10,000 mileage mentioned for the year, what's the point? So by the type of driving, I mean, do you commute to work or do you just drive your car for social, domestic and pleasure and just hanging out with your friends? So basically, if you drive less, put down less mileage, under 4,000 will get you cheaper insurances. And if you don't commute to work and you're using public transport or you're in education, then do mention on the insurance policy that you're just using this car for social and domestic purposes. Number 5, searching for insurance. Now this is another trick. Some people know about it, some people don't. When you're searching for insurances, always use a private browser, use incognito. This is because basically the insurance providers, they can track the traffic coming into their website. They can track how many times you've been on their website, and then you entering different details, trying to pull your insurance premium down. In reality, the opposite is happening. Your insurance premium is going up. That's why sometimes you must have noticed once you search up the insurance about 3-4 times, you can't find that first price that you found. In fact, now you're looking at a much higher price than there was at the beginning. Always check insurance comparison websites. There's confused.com, there's gocompare.com, there's Money Supermarket. And don't always rely on one insurance company. For example, if you find a cheaper insurance with Money Supermarket, it doesn't mean next year they're going to be the cheapest one. Another tip, once you search for your quotes and it will come up with different insurance providers, that price is not the lowest price that you can get. You can always give that insurance provider a direct call. You can tell them I've come through this comparison site. They're offering me this price. What can you do for me if I go directly with you? Now, they will always be happy to accommodate that because they're getting a customer dealing directly with themselves instead of going through a third-party website. And also because those comparison sites, they charge a commission. The premium prices are obviously going to be a little bit more expensive. So always check insurance and comparison sites and also directly get in contact with providers, not just providers that exist on the system. There's certain providers who don't appear on comparison sites. Direct Line is one of them. Search them up individually, try and get a quote. Now this nicely leads me into number 6. The more in advance you look for insurance policies, the cheaper they will be. Well, let me give you an example. Let me put it into perspective for you. Say it's the 20th of February, right? Now you got yourself a car, you can't wait to get out onto the road, start driving, and you check the earliest available insurance, which is the 21st or 22nd or 23rd even, right? Let's take it 3 days. So it's the 20th today and you want to get insured on the 23rd of February. Now the insurance companies know that. They're not stupid, it's businesses, and that's how they work, right? They can get into your mind. They know this person wants to be out on the road. They can offer you their largest or their highest insurance premium, and they know you'll take it because you want to be out on the road, you're in a hurry. And I've done that in the past so many times. That's why I'm saying this is useful. I wish there was a video like this back then to explain stuff to me so I had more knowledge about it. But at least I can help some of you new drivers out there. However, if you need insurance and you're looking 3-4 weeks ahead, your insurance premium price will be a lot less than it would be if you were to take it out in the next day or two. Generally, if you are in a hurry and you need an insurance policy, I would say wait around a week. That's how insurance policies work. Play the system. This again leads me nicely onto number 7. Do not renew your insurance policy with the current insurance provider before checking comparison sites. In most circumstances, the current insurance provider that you're with, they might be offering you a cheaper premium compared to last year's, but they're not going to be the cheapest one on the market. You know, insurance companies are not like your other contractors, your network providers, whatever. Duty of loyalty, they don't need to give you discounts over however many years. You know, you come get insurance, and that's what they're providing you for the next year. And that's why I say there's no need of building a good reputation with any insurance. As far as I'm concerned, you can have a new insurance provider for every year, and that's not going to make any difference to your record. What I suggest is that a month before your current insurance policy is about to expire, give the insurance company a call. Say, I want to know how much it will cost me to renew my policy once this policy comes to an end. Now, they should be able to give you a figure. If they don't give it to you straight away, they might say, we'll be able to give you that, you know, 2 weeks before your policy ends or whatever. Take that figure, go onto the comparison sites and do a search against it. Now, I can guarantee you 95% of the time, you will find a cheaper insurance premium there. The reason is because they know you're in the loop. They know they don't need to provide you the cheapest insurance on the market. They already have you as a customer you're currently insured with. So make sure you watch out for those deadlines, those timelines. Always check the comparison sites or individual insurance providers. But don't just stick with the current insurance that you have if you're looking for a cheaper insurance. This brings me on to number 8. The stages of insurance reductions. Now, these stages is something that happens in the background. You don't really need to do something. The way the UK works, I'm not too sure about the other countries, but the way UK works is they have certain ages after which your insurances start to drop. Now, obviously, this will be dependent on your personal record. Like I said, any no claims bonus that you might have, any points that you might have on your license, any accidents, any criminal convictions, or any driving offences in the past 5 years. I've even heard that some insurance policies have now started asking the past 10 years instead of the past 5 years. Regardless, let's say you passed your driving test when you were 17, now you're 18, your license is coming up to be a year old, you have a no claims bonus. Whether you have it or not, like I said, these are contributing factors, but that stuff in the background is still going to happen, right? Your license is a year old, your insurance is going to drop. It's not going to drop big, it's not going to drop hugely. Again, if you have any offences, the insurance might not drop, it might increase instead of decreasing. But once you're 18 and your license is a year old, your insurance will go down a little bit. After that, once you hit the age of 21, your insurance will go down again. Now, the reason is because the insurance providers have a nice 3-4 years to look at. You can see an overview of how you are like as a driver, you know, what kind of accidents you've had in the past, any, you know, driving offences, convictions, whatever it might be. And that allows them to paint a better picture of you as a driver. 3-4 years is seen as, you know, you're building up experience now, you're a more experienced driver, you've been out on the road for 3-4 years, so insurance premiums tend to be cheaper. After that, once you reach 25, that's when the insurance drops considerably. I'm saying that because I turned 25 last year and my insurance premium came down considerably. The reason being is now you've been on the road for 7-8 years, you've been driving for a long time. The insurance providers have a nice idea of how you are as a driver, and regardless of the fact how you are as a driver, you know, you have experience, you have been out on the road for 7-8 years, that's a long time. You're not considered as a new driver anymore. You know, in the insurance world, the age of 25 is seen as a experienced adult driver. So once you reach that age, after that, your insurance will start coming down anyway. After 25, each year it will determine on your previous year's record if you had any new accidents, any new points, if you've continued with your no claims bonus, and then, you know, every year your insurance will go down bit by bit by bit. And obviously once you're older, you're, you know, older age and your record is good, insurances do tend to be very different and much cheaper. I'll give you an example. I previously told you that my dad had an X5 when I was 17 and I tried getting insured on it. My insurance was around £17,500. At that time, my dad, he's got a clean record. On that same car, he was paying under £500. Next year, he had a Mercedes E-Class. I checked my insurance on that. I was 18 at that time. You know, mind you, my license is already a year old, but I had 3 points on it. But regardless of that, my insurance quote on that car came out around £12,000. And again, my dad at that time was paying, I think, around £400 for that car, you know, a year's insurance. It's crazy the way the age factor, the experience factor makes a big difference, but I understand why that is. So this leads me on to number 9. Always consider adding additional drivers to your policy. Now, by additional drivers, I don't mean add them as the first driver and add yourself as a second driver, because that's insurance fraud. You're going to get done for that. Never put yourself as the additional driver when you're actually going to be the main driver driving the car. And also the worst part of that is if you do unfortunately get into an accident, the person who's a name driver of the policy, their personal record, their no claims bonus and everything will be affected along with yours. For additional drivers, you can have your parents, you can have your friends, you can have another family member, you can have your neighbor, whoever it might be. The only thing that's going to make a difference is their personal record. Or for example, your father or your mother, they have had a license for say 20-25 years, their record is clean, no reckless driving records, no points, and a, you know, nice long no claims bonus, your insurance policy will come down considerably. However, similarly, if there's someone who has a bad record, whether it's your mother or your father or your relative or your friend, even though they might be older in age, have more experience, if they have a bad record, that will reflect your insurance policy, and your insurance policy is most likely to increase. So it's just a determinative factors. You just need to look at, the person who you're putting on as an additional driver, whether their personal record and their history is going to help you on the insurance, or is it going to make your insurance more expensive. But most of the time, if you do add an older driver, be it your mum, your dad, your older brother, older sister, your insurance policy will come down. Adding an additional driver is not only going to show the insurance provider that an experienced driver is also going to be driving this car. What it also shows is that the driving on this car is going to be split between a new driver and an experienced driver. So the final one, number 10. Now this is something I'd say, if you want to do it, definitely do it. Do I recommend it anymore? Not really. And that is getting a black box or doing extra courses for your driving to get a cheaper insurance premium at the end. Now my first car was VW Golf, so the insurance on that was considerably higher. And for the first year of driving, I had a black box fitted into the car. You're risking the chances of the insurance policy increasing because of the way you drive, the times that you drive at, and the mileage that you do. Every insurance policy is different. Some black box insurances are not going to count the mileage. They're not going to have a curfew. But for me, for example, I had a set mileage each month. However, I used to drive a lot, be out with friends and stuff. That's why my mileage kept going up and up and up. I ended up having to top up the mileage. It just became like a normal payment that was going out of my account. I was paying, I think, 150 to 200 pounds each month on top of my normal yearly payment just to get those extra miles. If I could go back in time now, would I have had it? Definitely not. It's not worth it. My personal circumstances, for you guys, if you're one of those, really chill drivers, you don't do a lot of mileage, don't drive fast, you can always have the black box fit into your car. It will bring your insurance policy down. For example, for my Golf, I can't exactly remember now. I think the insurance policy that was coming out was close to 3,000, was 2,800, 900 pounds for the year. With the black box, it came down to 1,800, so I saved 1,000 there. But then again, I probably ended up spending more money on topping up miles each month, and the insurance premium would have been just cheaper if I went without a box. However, sometimes being a young driver living in, especially London, like I said, it might be hard for you to get an insurance policy without a box. Anyway, most young drivers, I don't know how it is now, but back 7-8 years ago, they were being pushed towards getting black box insurances. Otherwise, the insurance had a £3,000 mandatory access on it. So if in case of an accident, you would have to pay £3,000 out of your pocket. I did that. I had, for my BMW and most of the other cars, I've had a £3,000 access. When I had a crash, I had to pay £3,000 out of my own pocket. But that was the only way to get insured without boxes and all of that stuff. Look, whatever suits you. Now just quickly, in regards to courses, once you pass your driving test, you can do extra courses to be more safe. I'm not exactly sure what they're called. I've never looked into them, never been interested in it. I think once you pass your driving test, you're out there, enjoy the freedom that you have. You can do those courses. I don't know how long they last, maybe a couple of days or something. It's not all insurance policies, right? Some insurance policies might reduce your premium because you have that certificate or confirmation that you have attended those courses. Depending on your circumstances, if you need it or you have to, then yes. Would I recommend it? No. So yeah, I hope this video was useful. Like I said, it would have been very useful for me if I had a video like this back in the day, if I had someone to explain these things to me, because I would have been able to save a lot of money from my insurance policies and put them maybe towards better cars and more modifications. You can go after this video, check for your insurance policies, use the methods and factors I've told you about, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find cheaper insurance policies for yourself, for your families, your friends, whoever it might be. If you do go out and find a cheaper insurance because of any of these reasons or factors I've listed here, do comment below. And if you have any questions, you can comment right below. You can follow my Instagram at The Automotive Stable. So thumbs up this video, subscribe to the channel. The goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I'll be back next week with another video. But for now, here's me logging out. Bye-bye.